Welcome to Fantasy Football in 5, the most ballsy YouTube channel out there for fantasy. And this will be our week 4 start sims. Last week was our week 3.
So if you haven't heard about our channel, hit the big red button below. Okay, so for week 4 start sims, we're going to be beginning with the quarterbacks. So some guys, if you want to start this week, Russell Wilson, Carson Palmer, and Matt Stafford.
Now, if you look at Carson Palmer last week against the Bills, he had a very bad
Uncharacteristic badly.
Yeah, he only had like 3 points that week, but we expect him to bounce back this week, especially up against
The Rams.
the Rams and that depleted secondary.
And for sits, Eli Manning, Matt Ryan, and Jameis Winston.
Now, Jameis Winston, he has been phenomenal this year. He's been throwing a lot of touchdowns, but we said to sit him this week mainly because he has a really tough matchup against the Denver Broncos, which has been a great defensive team this year. Alright, so for running back, a couple people you want to start this week. We have Le'Veon Bell, who's coming back. We have LaShawn McCoy, Isaiah Crowell, and LeGarrette Blount.
Now, I'm really excited for Lev Bell to come back from his 3-game suspension. It also helps that he was kind of out for those games because it'll let him still recover from his leg injury from last year. And Mike Thomas says he's going to get a lot of work, so pay attention.
Now, for sit-ems at running back, we will start with Jamal Charles, then Jeremy Langford, DeMarco Murray, and Rashad Jennings.
Jamal Charles is coming back after his second or third torn ACL. Finally coming back in against the Steelers this week, but he's going to be limited in his amount of work just because of how recent the injury was.
And the fact that Spencer Ware has been really good this season.
Yeah, so sit Jamal Charles for now. Okay, so for some guys on the wide receiver list to start, these guys and Allen Robinson, Doug Baldwin, and Marvin Jones are all great start options for you.
Now, Marvin Jones is an absolute monster. He had 6 catches for 205 yards and 2 touchdowns. That equaled like 38 points in fantasy value. That is amazing.
His middle name is Yak.
So expect Marvin Jones to be a great start from here on out. He's the #1 target out there in Detroit.
Yeah, and for sits, Brandon Marshall, Sammy Watkins, and Golden Tate.
Now, also talking about a big name receiver with Brandon Marshall. Now, we said to sit him this week mainly because he has been so unproductive this season. I think he has like 12 grabs for 140 yards. It is really just terrible. No touchdowns. Alright, for tight ends, a couple of starts this week. We have Kobe Fleener, Zach Miller, and Julius Thomas.
Now, Kobe Fleener finally had that game we all been waiting for, coming against the Falcons on Monday night. He had 16 fantasy points in our league.
23 in one of my other leagues.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I expect him to have another good week this week against, I think, the Chargers, maybe?
Yes, it is the Chargers.
Alright.
And so, a few starts at the tight end, or not starts, sits, excuse me, at the tight end. We have Eric Ebron, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and Martellus Bennett. Now, if you haven't heard Austin Seferian-Jenkins, he got cut by the Buccaneers, but he got signed by the Jets. So we expect him to be the starter out there for the New York.
But he's not going to start right away, like some people could expect. So if you have him on your team, sit him for now. Alright, so some defensive starts. Kind of obvious teams this week, but the Cardinals, the Seahawks, and the Vikings.
They were the top 3 defenses in our rankings this week. Y'all know about the Vikings, so we're going to talk about the Seahawks. They have a favorable matchup against the Jets, who threw 6 interceptions against the Chiefs, so expect them to shut them down.
And for sits, the Raiders, the Bengals, and the Los Angeles Rams are all teams you might want to consider benching.
Now, the Bengals, they play Miami on Thursday night, and we expect the Bengals to not have a very good week because we like Miami's offense with Jarvis Landry, who came out and showed he's a man to be reckoned with, and the running backs also. Now, the most important fantasy position ever, kickers.
Woo!
So, starting guys for kickers, you have Josh Brown and Dan Bailey this week.
No, Dan Bailey, he's the kicker for the the Cowboys, excuse me. And he's been kicking very well this season. I expect that to continue against the 49ers this week.
Now, a few guys to sit at the kicker position. We have Roberto Aguayo, Graham Gano, and Nick Folk.
Now, Roberto Aguayo has been on a very rough start to his NFL career.
Yeah, definitely. Everyone expected him to do really well coming out of college, most accurate kicker ever.
We thought he would.
And then he just has been terrible. Alright, now a few players that we want to get you guys to pick up on the waiver wire. We have Jordan Howard, running back, as we...
Alright, three.
All right, a few guys that we think you should pick up from the waiver wire. We have Jordan Howard, running back for the Bears. We've talked him up this offseason, and he's finally getting his chance.
Jeremy Langford is out for 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury, so all the right reasons to pick up Jordan Howard.
Also, Kyle Rudolph, tight end for the Minnesota Vikings. He's shown he has a great connection with Sam Bradford, and I love him. So,
and a guy to drop. This is just one of the guys we have to drop. Roberto Aguayo.
Mm-hmm. He, as we mentioned before, he had a rough start to his career, and I'd say drop him and pick up another kicker.
That was Fantasy Football in 5. Thank you for watching. We literally fancy just in 5 minutes left because honestly, who would want to watch a 30-minute video on this topic?
Amen.
And this is the week 4 starting the Sims. The Packers and the Eagles are on a bye this week.
Okay, also, our fantasy team was absolute beasts. They scored 191 points, insane, and we won by 115 points. It was just incredible.
Set an all-time league record, so stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.